Hi, today I have with me Dr. Matt Brock, Associate Professor of Educational Studies in the College of Education and Human Ecology at The Ohio State University, and a Crane Center Faculty Fellow. Matt, you study inclusion of students with significant disabilities in general education classrooms. With many schools going remote this past spring, and likely again this fall, what does this mean for students with disabilities? How can this be done equitably? Is there a way to do it equitably? And what kind of supports do students need that we might be overlooking?
Supporting students with the most significant disabilities during the pandemic is going to be really tough. For students with the most significant disabilities, these are students with autism, intellectual disability, multiple disabilities who need a lot of support and a lot of intensive intervention in order to make educational progress. And a lot of this is going to depend on families, the resources that they have, and the resources that are provided to them by the school. A lot of schools in Ohio and Franklin County in particular have already committed to going remote only for their instruction. This can be really challenging for kids with the most significant disabilities. I talked to a teacher who tries to provide one-on-one Zoom sessions to every student in her classroom, which is awesome. She works a ton of hours. But even with the best lesson plan in place, it's really hard to engage a kid on the other end of a Zoom call that just walks away from the iPad when they're bored or disinterested in what you're teaching, and you have no way of getting them back. Some school systems are doing some really creative things as far as providing hybrid schedules with extra time for students with disabilities to be at school, which is a great way of providing extra support. Some schools are coming up with creative ways of providing therapy, like speech therapy, occupational therapy, or physical therapy in homes, which is awesome. In other school systems, those services might not be available. One cool thing about Ohio is that there are options for parents who have students with significant disabilities. So we have something called the Autism Scholarship and the John Peterson Scholarship that enables parents who aren't happy with what they're getting in the public school to take those dollars and pay for things like in-home ABA services. That said, accessing those services is a big challenge. It's a lot of paperwork, a lot of navigation that you have to do. We know from past studies of the John Peterson Scholarship Program that most of the families that are accessing that program aren't families that switched from the public school to a different option. There are families who are already in the private school system or already accessing private school systems. So that makes me really worried that our families of students with significant disabilities that are in public schools might not have the bandwidth or sophistication and the time to navigate that paperwork and be able to access other services if that would be in their best interest. As far as challenges and things that we can do about it, I'm really worried about parents understanding their options and accessing them. So something that we can do is educate parents about, you have this public school option, you can look at what they offer, but there's other options that are available to you too. Maybe they aren't something you would consider in normal times, but during a pandemic, maybe you'd be interested in switching to at-home services if that's something that would be better for your child. Something that's a really tough challenge, particularly for students who are on the autism spectrum, is figuring out how to make progress with communication and social skills when you're stuck at home. Hopefully you have siblings, maybe you're an only child and you don't have access to other kids at all. That's really tough. So you can have speech therapy or social skills instruction, but if you don't have an opportunity to interact with other kids and practice those communication and social skills, that's really hard. There's some creative things that I've seen teachers do when I've talked to them. Some of them have done social skills groups where we get 8 kids together on Zoom to have interaction and practice those skills. For kiddos with the most significant support needs, interacting on Zoom might not be something that's motivating and fun for them, so that might still be tough. So we still need to think around creative solutions to be able to do that.